Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us for another episode of the B1X, aka the Business One Exchange. Over the last few months, I had the privilege of being part of some remarkable conversations across the SAP Business One ecosystem. And that's what's striking, is how consistent the message has been, regardless of region or audience. In March, Alyn and I were both on stage in Paris at the SAP Business One SSP Partner Enablement, an invitation-only gathering for selected SAP Business One SSP partners, hosted at the SAP office in Paris. The entire event was built around one central theme: AI. Not AI as a buzzword, but AI as a practical capability that partners need to understand and deliver for their customers. A few days later, I was in Las Vegas for the SAP Partner Summit for the Americas. A completely different audience, different region, same conversation. Cloud, intelligence, and outcomes were front and center. And it was great to see Darius there as well, having just connected with him in Paris. The consistency of that message across two continents in the same month is not a coincidence. There's a reason we call the company New Intelligence, because once SAP Business One is live, the next frontier is turning all of that data into intelligence that actually drives decisions. That's the gap we've built with the entire Quick Start suite around. Now, today's discussion isn't about a specific event or a specific demonstration. It's about what those conversations signal for the SAP Business One ecosystem. And that's why these themes are becoming increasingly important for partners and customers alike. Cloud has become the expected foundation. Customers assume availability, performance, and scalability. Where expectations are rising sharply is around insight, fast answers, trusted numbers, and technology that help people understand what's happening in their business without every question becoming a project. That shift has major implications for how partners deliver value and how SAP continues to evolve the Business One ecosystem. I'm joined today by my co-host, Alyn Hughes from Cloud for Partners, bringing deep expertise around cloud foundations and deployment at scale. And our special guest today, Darius Heydarian from SAP, who leads partner solution enablement for SAP Business One and has a front row seat to ecosystem strategy and partner success globally. Our goal today is to talk about why cloud and intelligence matter together, how specialization strengthens the ecosystem, and what SAP Business One partners should be focusing on over the next 12 to 24 months. This is about direction, not demos, and outcomes, not hype. So let's get started. Let's start with the big picture. This section is about SAP Business One ecosystem direction. And the question I want to explore is, why have cloud and intelligence become such consistent themes across SAP B1 ecosystem right now? Darius, I'd love to start with you.
Thank you first, Corey and Alyn, for having me here today in your podcast series. I really value this and also looking forward to the conversation. So cloud, of course, is a thing, a phenomenon which is there for quite a time. And also for Business One, the product evolved from a, let's say, purely on-premise product to also a cloud-hosted product. And we see many, let's say, benefits in hosting the product Business One, right? So, of course, now when we look at our latest Business One version with the web client, we are opening up the Business One application in a web format, in a browser application format to the public internet. And of course, doing this out of an on-premise landscape, it's much more, let's say, difficult to secure it in the right way with all the certificates, with all the technical things you need to put in place. And I think if you have someone hosting, for example, partner or provider, a hyperscaler, whatsoever, they put already some high standards and security in place. And I think that's a reason why, if you going with the latest Business One, which is the web client, why you also should consider to use cloud, right? And with cloud also there comes, the 24/7 SLA. So whenever something breaks, there's someone who can fix it right away. They don't need to drive to your premises and fix a computer on site, right? And also the costs with the subscription licensing to start as a new business is that the investment is much smaller to get started with the Business One implementation, as the user price per month is quite significant lower than what you would pay for a perpetual license. And lastly, I mean, also a good thing in cloud is, or in hosted environments, is that the hardware will not age like 10 years, 20 years, which we can see in some on-premise landscapes. They can always change, like in the hyperscalers, they change it maybe every year or two, the underlying, infrastructure, CPU, and generations of processors and so on. So this evolves over time, and so the stability and the performance is always at the top.
Excellent. Alyn, when SAP sets those priorities, what does that mean practically for partners building modern foundations?
Well, I think the core thing is, and this is globally, and it's different speeds. So different countries and different partners in different regions work at different speeds here. But I do think and do strongly believe that cloud is now just the de facto, it's the go-to. We know the competition are selling their services and solutions on the cloud. It's becoming normalized. Now, in the UK, Germany, America, France, all the more well-established areas, they're expecting it. If you're not on cloud, they'll look at you as you're quite strange. What do you mean you're not in the cloud? Other places in the world are not quite there yet, but they're getting the traction that we went through a number of years ago. So I know when our company started in 2012 and became cloud first from day one, we were fairly unique at the time because no one else was doing that. They were all selling on premise, and that's the way it was done. Now I think it's the other way around. I think the people remaining on premise are getting smaller and getting pushed because the customers that aren't in the cloud, at some point their CFO or their CEO is going to say, should we be moving to the cloud? And if we as partners don't make that effort to make sure that they're aware that they can move to the cloud easily, there's a risk they'll move somewhere else. Now that could move to another SAP partner, which is bad enough, or even worse, it could move away from SAP.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, it's, SAP Business One hasn't changed. It's just expectations of value have. And success used to mean, for a lot of organizations, the system's live. Success now means fast answers, trusted data, and self-service insight. And it explains really SAP's global focus on enablement, cloud maturity, and now AI and analytics. So for me, it addresses, for us, from our perspective, it addresses the post-go live analytics gap, where it makes SAP B1 data immediately usable, enables repeatable, scalable outcomes for partners. And so what I'm hearing from both of you is that the bar has moved. It's no longer enough to just get a customer live. That brings us naturally to our next topic, which is cloud is the foundation, not the finish line. The question I want to dig into is why cloud alone doesn't deliver business value for SAP B1 customers. And I'm going to let Alyn, start with you in regards to, bringing that up.
Well, I think it's part of the value proposition that it brings. It's part of what helps generate the real value for those end customers. It's not the be all and end all, but having cloud as a stable platform, which allows the scalability, ensures performance, has service level agreements that guarantee it, and from a partner's perspective for their customers, cloud isn't just cloud. So any partner out there they can work with whoever they like, but we personally chose to work with AWS as a hyperscaler simply because they bring so much to the party. So having that ability to scale, and Darius mentioned it before, people on premise tend to try and stretch and eke out as much value out of that investment in that kit for as many years as they possibly can, and to the point where it falls over and then they're panicking. With cloud, like with ourselves, AWS every year upgrade everything in their platform for free. So everyone on our platform gets a free upgrade every year to the latest environments. It's these are the sort of things that I would recommend partners go and look for, because I don't say cloud is the only thing that's going to provide value, but it is definitely part of that value proposition that ultimately gives that value to the end customer. And without it, they can still get value, but they're also increasing their risk. So for me, on premise, especially with the way that AI is now taking up all and increasing memory costs, all those sorts of things, going cloud is actually a better way of planning your budgets for the year. So you don't know if something fails rather on a on-premise solution, is the part in stock? If it's
Yep.
not in stock, how long is it going to take to get there? 2 weeks? Well, what do we do with no system for 2 weeks? These are the sort of things that the hidden costs that partners need to be aware of, so they can start talking about those with their customers as well. Because a lot of customers don't look at that. They look at the price of a server, they look at cloud, and they don't actually compare apples with apples. It's but it's all about building that value. Cloud isn't the only thing that's going to be it, but it's definitely a starting point to build that value towards the end line.
Yeah, 100%. And for me, cloud, at the end of the day, it successfully delivers that availability, that performance, that scalability right from the get-go. But at the end of the day, it does not necessarily or automatically deliver those things that we look at, which is more on the organized analytics or standard KPIs, or being able to provide reduced reporting backlogs or faster decision making. But what we are constantly seeing is customers live in the cloud, but they're still exporting data to Excel. They're still rebuilding these reports from scratch. They're still lacking a single version of the truth. And what we're trying to do is really, at the end of the day, you have to assume cloud exists, and focusing on organized SAP B1 data and standardized metrics makes that insight available immediately after go live. So, Darius, from SAP side, how common is that gap between cloud success and real customer value?
Well, I mean, Alyn already said a lot of things about cloud, and it's hard to add much to it. But I think, again, cloud is, I mean, not solving all of the problems, right? So Business One needs to be implemented properly and all of these things. But now, if you look a bit forward now with AI, for example, coming to Business One web client, and we can see also with the web client transition, many partners now building extensions side by side, coming from a cloud platform, from the BTP, from other external services. So of course, when your Business One is already in the cloud, there is some, as Alyn said, some service level agreement. So it will be always online, available. It can scale. So if you have more load than usual, you can, maybe it's like a year-end thing or whatever, you can just, increase a bit the memory or the whatever this compute power. And also, if you want, you can have like easily a fallback system, a backup, high availability. You can do a lot of things which are very costly on the on-premise side. So if you are like a new customer and you consider to use Business One, I would strongly recommend to look into a cloud-hosted option, because it's an easy way to start. It's affordable, and it gives you all the different sizings and possibilities in terms of scale, but also high availability. And again, just imagine you now have AI connected, some agents coming either from SAP or non-SAP, and then you have your on-premise installation, and there's some network problem, maybe in your building, in your street, whatever, someone stumbled over a cable, whatever happens in the office, and then the agents cannot connect anymore from outside in. So if you're already out, it's much more easy, I think, to work in these new days, new environments, in this new world. So I believe cloud is really not just the foundation, and it's becoming, I would say, more the standard and requirement to be compliant and can work with all these different services coming from different partners, from different platforms to be connected all the time.
Right, right. And, I totally agree with that. And that gap between cloud success and real customer value is exactly where our next topic comes in. We're talking about analytics and AI as what I like to refer to as the value multiplier. And the question I want to explore here is, how does intelligence or AI actually change adoption and long-term value for SAP Business One customers? And given this is near and dear to my heart, I'll take this one first. So, for us, from that perspective, we built our quick start solution, which is, built on IBM Cognos Analytics, IBM Planning Analytics, and Watson X technology. So when we talk about trusted data and governed models, we're not talking about a startup tool. We're talking about enterprise-grade technology that's purpose-built for SAP Business One. At the end of the day, the SMEs today don't want separate BI projects. They don't want AI experiments or any sort of complex tools to work with. What they do want is answers. They want to be able to do that with confidence and, at the end of the day, speed. So what we're seeing now is the question of AI and why it often fails is we've seen firsthand is that AI is only as useful as the questions you can ask it. And you can only ask the right questions when the data underneath is clean, standardized, and trusted. So without that foundation, AI becomes a frustrating experience rather than a productive one. And that's exactly why we built that quick start solution to organize and govern the SAP Business One data first, so that when AI is layered on top, it actually delivers answers worth acting on. So the philosophy that we go with is really organizing SAP Business One data first. Use these pre-built governed models, but deliver dashboard capability immediately. And let the AI piece augment, not replace the analytics. So AI becomes things that customers are expecting to have now, which is that natural language, access to the data, giving them some level of automated insight and provide them capabilities with forecasting and planning, but again, delivering all of this on the same trusted platform. So with that being said, Darius, how does SAP see analytics and AI influencing adoption and long-term ecosystem health?
Thanks, Corey. Yeah, I think it's a good question and segue from what you have said before, as you are focusing strongly on analytics. So in SAP Business One, the web client actually is the more powerful analytics version of Business One compared to its desktop client version of, let's say, the past or the current one, which is, we're moving into the web client. But I think it's all about, data, what you just said. So you need, as a CEO, CFO, whatever role you have, also if you are, let's say, a warehouse manager or whatsoever, you need to have insights of your data. And analytics is really the tool to get immediately visibility. And with the web client, we already offer great visibility and some standard, dashboards, and also the opportunity to build any visualization on top of a list view, which you can customize with whatever you would like to see. And on top of that, of course, now with AI, we really want to shift the end users, the employees of a customer, from the entry level, from the operational level to the action level, so that they really just focus on their main task. They don't need to, look up things. They don't need to close Business One, look somewhere else, go back to Business One, like an email or a PDF or whatever. So the vision is clear that with AI, the users will become more actionable, more, let's say, empowered to really focus on their daily tasks and get freed up from these, dull operational tasks. That's, I think, a big thing where AI can help. And as I mentioned before, in WebClient, we also are going to introduce AI capabilities as of August 2026, and with different things where you can, prompt and get a list view, where you can ask questions on the end user screen, what they see, and send this to an LLM and get an answer, a response back within seconds. And this will help the businesses to grow, to avoid business problems and things like this. And I think both together, analytics and AI go hand in hand to give companies visibility to grow.
Right, absolutely. Alyn, excuse me. How does a strong cloud foundation expand what partners can realistically deliver with analytics and AI?
Well, for me, it's simplification. They don't have to think about the platform. They don't have to think of what the demands are of these solutions, whether it be AI, or analytics or whatever they're looking to do. Working with a partner that can provide an effective cloud solution is the basis of what they need to do. And if they need to scale, you can just turn up the dial and you just have more power, more space, more memory, whatever you need, it can be done. And that to me is a default standard. So that's where cloud can seriously help. Because if you're limited with an on-premise solution and you suddenly then, oh, but we really want to do this, but it needs this much more space, it needs this bigger compute power, it needs more memory. You're going to have to go and buy it. You're going to have to get someone to come in and fit it. If you don't have your own IT team, the costs just keep spiraling that way. I know for our perspective, we turn a dial up and within seconds it's ready. So it's a huge difference in how it can be delivered. So that to me is the core thing that cloud provides here. It goes without saying that I think the likes of what you're doing with analytics, certainly with AI, certainly with the web client, because we've been web client ready for years, and we don't need extra servers or anything in that way for web client. It's already set up on our platform, and if people want to start using it, and I'm pleased to say there are partners of ours already who are actively selling SAP Business One with the web client, and some of them are actually taking it as web client only. So there's certainly enough functionality in there now for a lot of businesses to run effectively. And they are on our platform and they're entirely web client based. They are not traditional, let's go into the old desktop version and work that way. So this is where we can bring our skills as well, because not only are we experts in the cloud with AWS as an advanced tier status partner, we are SAP, what was Gold Partners, advanced partner now as well. So we talk the same language as other partners. And that's something we can help them because they may not have seen how B1 works in that particular way when it moves to the cloud. And that's where we can advise and help. And that, again, going back to a previous question, is where value is then suddenly being delivered to the end customer, not just to the partner and not just for us.
Right. This is where specialization really becomes essential. And I want to turn to what I think is one of the most important topics for anyone listening today is specialization and partner collaboration. And the question is, why does specialization actually strengthen the SAP Business One ecosystem? Darius, I'd love SAP's perspective on this first.
Yeah, Corey, this is easy because, Business One is very successful since almost 30 years. I think in October this year we have our anniversary, and we wouldn't be so successful having like 10 customers, new customers every day globally, and having like 83,000 customers in total. We wouldn't be so successful without our partner ecosystem and because of their solutions, of their vertical solutions, but also horizontal solutions, which we require in every single implementation of Business One. So the core Business One is a great product, and I'm working for SAP, so what should I say? But in reality, the customers have always some additional industry specific, for example, requirements like in automotive or pharmacy or wherever they are. And there we have like a really uncomparable, huge variety of solutions thanks to our build partner ecosystem. And we have such a great partner to partner business happening, even without our, let's say, involvement from SAP directly. You are meeting in summits and outside of summits, you come together on own events, invite your customers plus all the build partners of your choice. So, I think that's the great benefit of specialization, where I think Business One is also really a role model at SAP, where the partner ecosystem is really, going the extra mile, make it work, because implementing Business One is always the same at one point. But then, of course, then the extra mile is to really make it fit for the customer, the last mile adoption. And this is really where also extensions play a vital role. And I think this is really why Business One is so successful. And I'm not sure if there's anything I missed, but I give it back to you, Corey, if you still missed something.
Well, I'll pass it to Alyn. Alyn, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm completely convinced. I've worked for Cloud of Partners as part of Ascari. I've been here for over 8 years. And for me, we specialize by working with other partner solutions to find a complete solution for an end customer, whether it be manufacturers, whether it be distribution, whether it be financial, whatever industry it's going to be in. There are solutions out there that plug and play with Business One. And the idea of sitting down and writing that, even though you can do coding a lot easier nowadays with the likes of Claude and other AI solutions, where it can help you create JavaScripts relatively easily, even if you're not an expert in it, you can actually, you're gaining experience by bringing these people in. Doing everything yourself might, in your eyes, bring more revenue to you, but at what cost? Your costs go up along with the revenue. And that's why we as Ascari partner with a number of specific solution providers where we know they're particularly strong in certain sectors. And we then will find out, as every partner does, what the requirements are of the customer and then deliver it in the cloud, because we don't deal with anyone on premise at all. And I would advise that's got to be the way that every partner should be moving. Whether we're the cloud partner of choice is up to them, but they need to think about how do we move our customers from on-premise to cloud. And as I've done before, if they don't do it, someone else will.
Well, exactly. And to me, the ecosystem complexity has just increased. Whether it's cloud, whether it's security, whether it's data, whether it's AI, expecting one partner to do everything, all it's going to do really is just going to increase your risk. It's going to slow down the delivery of what you want to put into play, and it's going to hurt your consistency. So, the real message for partners listening today is New Intelligence and Cloud for Partners are not here to compete with SAP B1 partners. We're here really to make them stronger. For us, Quick Start was built specifically to plug into existing partner relationships where a VAR brings us in. They don't lose the customer. They deepen the relationship and really just expand their value. So specialization is what makes the whole ecosystem more competitive. Our solution with respect to Quick Start was really built for these kind of ecosystems where we're providing those pre-built accelerators, giving them predictable scope and modular growth such that they get that quick or short time to value. So the specialization really provides or enables scalable delivery for partners. It gives them better customer outcomes, and in my opinion, really a stronger SAP Business One ecosystem health, more stickiness, and recurring revenue for everyone involved. So,
No,
yeah, so, let's bring it home. So, to close out today's conversation, I want to ask each of you one final question. It's like Final Jeopardy. And this one is for the partners listening. What should SAP Business One partners focus on over the next 12 to 24 months? And Alyn, I'm going to cue you up and let you kind of take that one on.
fine. Well, for me, the answer's simple, and it's modernization. You must modernize not only the new clients you win, you must modernize the ones you have, because we need to take advantage of web client. We need to take advantage of the new AI solutions that are available. We need to take advantage of analytics that is available over and above if they want to go into that deep detail. They need to take advantage of cloud. Go to market with the right tool set. If you go to market with the right tool set, not only will you win more new clients, you will actually win longer term contracts with your existing clients who are not interested in potentially moving elsewhere. Simply because if you stay still, someone with a 5-year-old SAP Business One system on premise will consider something else. They certainly will. So it's all about how do we make it attractive. So for next 12 to 24 months is how do we modernize? And that's a key message that I deliver in lots of presentations. Modernization for me is we must, as a partner network, start using web client more. We must be on the later versions. We've got to get people upgraded. We've got to consistently upgrade them. We've got to make sure they've got the latest tool sets to use and utilize for the benefit of their customers, and for the customers to actually then start thinking, this is great. I'm glad we bought this. Not thinking about moving away. And, the biggest competitor to me isn't the normal, what we consider competitors. It's the, we're not doing anything. They're fine. They're paying their maintenance. They're not doing anything. They're stable. But if they're not doing anything, someone only has to change position and be a new person coming in, and they've got lots of new ideas, and suddenly they'll go to market and they'll be looking at everything. And that's what we've got to be careful about. We do not want people to think, oh, SAP Business One, oh, well, we're still on version 9.3. Well, that's fine, it works. But what happens when someone comes in with a new mindset? Why are we on this old piece of software? Let's look for something new and modern in the cloud. Let's get some new analytics going. Let's get some better information so we can make decisions more quickly. Let's utilize, well, they won't even think about SAP Business One and the latest developments that I'm sure, Darius, you'd agree, have cost SAP a fair few euro to develop over the years. So we need to start utilizing those latest developments, modernize not only new customers, but the existing customers as well. They're just as, if not more important.
Absolutely. Darius, what about you? What's your thoughts on that for the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, to just continue on what Alyn said. So, of course, SAP has made a huge investment into SAP Business One and the web client. So our, let's say, innovations, all of our new features and functions are currently all put into the web client. And in next year, in 2027, we will get the feature parity of the web client and the desktop client. So then there will be no discussion anymore that the web client will maybe lack of a feature or function or whatever. So it will be not just the same, it will be even better, because we do things in the web, not just one-to-one, stupidly copying the features. We try to also use the UX, the user experience you get in the web, which also allows you to do things, let's say, more innovative with a better, visibility, better user experience. Like, it's different than what you have in a Windows application. So or let's say my call to action, not just our call to action is really to all the partners to learn about the web client. We have this learning.sap.com where you can already learn about the web client, not just as a partner, also as an end user, how this all works already with Business One web client. And then also, start putting this in every conversation with prospects, with leads, but also with existing customers, because also they will not get any more updates and innovations, new features in their desktop client. Of course, we keep the desktop client alive. We keep it compliant, legally compliant with like tax regulations and all of these things. This will be always compliant to desktop client, but all the new innovations like AI and new things we will introduce in the closer future. This will only be done in the web client. So really, in the next 12 to 24 months, the partners should really focus on learning the web client, selling the web client, implementing the web client, and also, of course, on the build side, developing extensions on the web client. And I also witnessed this, from the big players, but also from the small build partners, that they already have some, let's say, lighter versions of the extensions ready for the web client. And I saw big players which also say 2027, we have 100% version of our desktop client add-on moved into a cloud extension to run seamlessly integrated or side by side with the Business One web client. So the end user can do the same what they were doing in the past, but even with a much better UI in the web client in 2027 and beyond. So this is really, I would say, my call to action for partners. Get your names, your new customers always into the web client conversation, and also talk to your existing customers on customer days. You can also invite me, Peter, Joost, and others, Angeline, to those customer days. We will also support you in conveying this message and telling the importance about the transformation to the web client.
Excellent. That's a great piece of advice, and I think that's going to be heard around, and it's going to be a consistent message that's being communicated. So before I close, I want to thank Alyn and Darius, not just for today, but for the consistency of this message across every conversation, every event, and every region. What strikes me is that none of this is theoretical anymore. These aren't predictions. They're patterns that are already playing out across the SAP Business One ecosystem right now. So for partners listening, the window to differentiate is open, but it won't stay open forever. And that's really what today comes down to. So I'm going to leave this closing thought is more when cloud provides the foundation and intelligence delivers insight, SAP Business One becomes more than just a system of record. It becomes a system for better decisions. Thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate everyone's time. And I'm looking forward to catching everyone up on the next Business One Exchange. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.